I'm Colin from Time Valley Motorhomes, and today I'll be showing you around the Auto Trail Apache 700. So on the driver's side of the vehicle, first thing you want to do when you arrive on site is hook the vehicle up. So get your hookup lead, which is 25 meters long, lift the collar, slide it over the top of the point on the van and hook up, and then unhook. There's a small blue tab on the side that you push down and then you can pull the hookup lead off. Always hook the vehicle up first and then the point, as we wouldn't want you walking around with a live lead in the rain. And then below you do have your grey water. So this is a holding tank, and to open, you just open on the side and drain off your grey water. So this is anything you have drained off down the plug hole within the vehicle. So normally you would drive over a grid on the way out of your site and deposit your grey waste. Come in here, this is your boiler flue. So when heating the water on gas, this cover must come off. If you're heating it on electric, the cover can stay on, and when you travel, put the cover on and wash the vehicle. But when you are heating the water on gas, put your hand here, clip it off, and this will allow the fumes from the heater on gas to escape out the side of the vehicle. If you forgot to take this off, you will get a red light on the heater itself, and all you need to do is you need to come out, take it off, blow through here, and it just eliminates any gas that's built up and it makes it light easier. Further down the vehicle you do have your cassette. So this is your cassette loo. So your toilet's behind there. This is where it all ends up. And what you need to do is you need to make sure that the blade is closed on the ball of the toilet. Then you can lift the orange Fetfit T handle up, slide it out. You've got wheels there so you can drag it around the site when it's full and heavy, so you don't have to carry it. And they're empty. You take the grey cover off, press the orange button at the back, allows a bit of air in, stops it glugging, gives it a consistent flow. Go to your waste disposal point, which is normally behind or beside the toilet block. Empty it off. Once you've emptied it, there's a tap there, put some water in, give it a slosh around and empty again to get most of the content out. And then if you're filling it back up with chemical, if you're using the liquid form, fill this full of blue or green liquid and tip it straight in here, and it's ready to go back into the vehicle. If you are using the tablet form, which is the new form of chemical, put a pint of water back into the vehicle, push it back into the vehicle and drop one straight down the toilet and open the blade, and that will deposit into the chemical form as well. Coming further back, you've got your external shower. So it's a cold water feed only. So you'll need to pull the connection off, which is just the stop, and on one end of the gun there'll be a hose connector, and on the other there's a trigger gun. So this is great for the bikes, the boots, the dogs, the kids, if you've just come off the beach to get all the sand off you, or to clean the mountain bikes off. And below, this is your fresh water drain. So if you filled up with any fresh water and you want to drain it off in the winter, or you've taken on contaminated water, or you just simply want to drain it all off, you can just open this up and this just drains off the fresh water. Moving further back, you've got your garage. So in here is your storage. You've got your awning winding handle, your rafter bar which goes in the middle of the awning, tethering points to tie your items down, and you've got access through into the back lounge as well there. Coming further around the back of the vehicle, you do have your high level brake light and built-in reverse camera. Your full size spare wheel is behind this cover, so it will open with the key that opens all the lockers, the round headed one. So you take this off, lift the cover off, there's a big nut behind there, this lifts this fiberglass panel off, behind there is a full size spare wheel. And below this vehicle has been fitted with a tow bar, so it's a detachable tow bar, so you can take it off should you require. And and take the key off. So you put the key in there, turn it, clip it off, and you can take the tow bar off. And in there you do have 13-pin electrics. Coming around the passenger side, you've got your other access panel to your garage, but I'll quickly show you how to open and unlock these locks. So you've got a line there. Always make sure the line is to the floor. Quarter of a turn and a tap, and that is them locked. And to unlock, a quarter of a turn to the left and the line to the top of the vehicle, and you'll be able to get in there. You've got your wheel external barbecue point, so you don't pull these forward, you slide them up. And you've got your external barbecue point, and on this side there you do have your gas point spigot which goes on the end of here. You'll need to get a Jubilee clip to connect this to some pipe, so gas pipe, and connect the other end to your Cadillac or external gas barbecue. And then this little, you've got two small keys here, one's to go on the spares, and this just locks this panel. And behind there is your fresh water intake. So you've got two ways you can fill your fresh water. So if you can get a hose to the vehicle, put the hose in here, fill it until it overflows, or you're happy there's enough water on board, which you can see on the control panel. If not, you can fill, if you can't get the hose to the vehicle, but you can get a bucket or an aqua roll like a caravan to the vehicle, you can put the wheel submersible pump in there, put the other end into the tank, drop the hose with the pump on into the water, go into the settings on the main control panel, which I'll show you from inside, and turn on the tank fill, and it will put power to the pump and start sucking the water into the vehicle. So that's your two options to fill the vehicle with water. You've got your two fridge vents, and then in here again, so same lock, so make sure you open them up. And behind there is your gas locker, so LPG, liquid petroleum gas. In there you can get 2 bottles, and what you need to do is you need to get yourself a gas spanner, left hand thread, hand tighten, and then nip up with a spanner. Turn the bottle on. Once you've turned it on, if you just press this green button for 3 seconds, it allows the gas through the crash valve into the vehicle, and then again press this button on the back of the regulator 1, 2, 3 for 3 seconds, and that'll allow it into the vehicle. Always make sure that the bottles are tied in. Once you have changed the bottles and put them on board, tie them in, and always turn them off when you are traveling. There is an inbuilt crash valve in there, so if anything happened, if this pigtail was ever to be get a hole in or be cut, it would cut the gas off, but just to be safe, turn it off. And by the passenger door you do have your diesel filler, so it opens with the main ignition key, and there you can fill with fuel. Inside the passenger door you do have your tyre pressures, so it's 5.5 bar front and rear, which is 79.5 psi. So you can fill them up and top them up from a tyre shop or a commercial tyre fitter. Don't go to Asda or when you're putting fuel in and think I'll top my tyres up, because their pumps are only set to 60 psi on their compressors. You must go to a tyre shop or commercial tyre place. Underneath the passenger seat is where you'll find the toolkit. So this has got everything you need to change your wheel or be towed away. It's got a towing eye in there as well. And underneath the floor is where the main engine battery lives. So if you ever needed to change the battery, you get it out through the cab floor. Your bonnet release is on the side of the passenger dashboard, and you can pull it to open the bonnet. And then you do have a second catch just in the middle of the bonnet there. And underneath the bonnet you've got your weight plate, so don't go off this one, go off the Auto Trail one. So it's 4.4 tonne. If you were to tow anything with the tow bar, you can tow a train weight of up to 5.6 ton. Your chassis number's in the window here, should you ever need it. And if you ever needed to jump start the vehicle, if you put your key or screwdriver in this cover here and lift it up, this is where you would put the red clip, so your positive for jump starting, and you put your negative, which is the black clip, onto here. You've got your oil filler and oil dipsticks for checking the levels, brake fluid. This cover lifts off and fills your radiator fluid and your power steering fluid, which is this side. And you do have, the main one you're going to need is your screen wash for your washer jets. And you've also got your paint coat here, so should you need paint for chips or anything, you can put the paint coat there first. So once inside the vehicle, above your habitation door is your touchscreen 12-volt control panel. So here, with this little electricity symbol, it indicates that we are hooked up and we have got 230-volt on board. And then you've got your master switch to turn the vehicle on. This will give you 230 volts to your 3-pin sockets, or if you weren't hooked up, it would give you 12 volt of your leisure battery on board. Below you do have your pump, so you must put your pump on to use all your taps, toilets, shower. And below that you've got your levels of your water. So here you can see that we've got 50% of fresh water on board at the moment and 0 waste. And below that is your power levels. So currently it's saying that we've got 14.2 volt in the leisure battery, 13.6 in the vehicle battery. The current ampage coming off the active battery, which you always want to be your leisure battery, as you don't want to run the motorhome off the engine battery as you flatten the car battery. And then you've got the mains current ampage coming in and the solar panel ampage there. On the right hand side you've got your master switch for all your lights on board, and then they all are individually switched. You've got your dimmer switch which dims. This is your dimmer switch which dims the light, and this one is your on-in switch on the outside of the vehicle. So press and hold the dimming switch and it'll dim the lights underneath there, and you can change the dimmer levels in the setting. And then at the bottom right hand corner you do have the settings on the cog, so you click on there, and then this is the power settings. So the active battery you always want to be on L. Don't put it on smart, and definitely don't put it on vehicle, because smart will monitor both batteries and switch it accordingly. Just always keep it on the leisure battery to run the motorhome. But then you've got the solar battery select underneath, which you can have on smart, and this will monitor both batteries, and whichever battery's low it will swap to put the charge in. Like I said, from outside, if you are filling from an outward roll, you will have to turn tank fill on here. This will send power to that to the plug-in pump point, and then the pump should then kick in and start sucking the water from the aqua roll or bucket. And then below you've got your tank heater, so if it's going to be a cold night and it's going to freeze overnight, put these on and it stops the water from freezing in the tanks by allowing current through the water. You've got your light settings, so your dimmer settings. You've got your screen settings here, so you can time your screen and your brightness, should it be too bright or too dim for you. And then you can set the date and time should the clocks change. And then you're back to the start. Coming next to the control panel on the left hand side, you've got your Truma Ultra Heat on 230 volt here. So this is how to heat the vehicle on mains power. So it's off when the little dial's on O. You've got 2 kilowatts at the top, which you can use on most sites in the UK. And then you've got 1 to 9. 9's about 30 degrees, and this is your thermostat. So what heat you want the vehicle to be. You've got half a kilowatt there, so if you're on a smaller CL site or abroad, you may have to use 500 watt, which is half a kilowatt. Or if you were on a site where you were using too much electric and things were tripping, you may have to turn your heating down to 1 kilowatt, which is 1000 watt. You've got your lights here for your lounge. And then you've got your Truma boiler. So this is where the cover needs to come off, and this is heating the water on gas. So in the middle is off. You've got 50 degrees of heating your water, which you'd use for showering. And then at the bottom you've got 70 degrees of heating your water, which you'd use to do your dishes. And then, like I said, off was in the middle. If you do get a little red light here, this indicates that you've either run out of gas or you've left the cover on. And your electric side to heating your water is on the forward facing rear travelling seats. You've got off in the middle, you've got 1 kilowatt on the top and 2 kilowatts on the bottom. Just there, so off, 1 kilowatt at the top, in the middle is off, and down to 2 kilowatts. And this is heating the water on 230 volts, so only when hooked up. If you weren't hooked up and you were wild camping, you would then have to heat the water on gas. But you can use both sources together should you be in desperate need of hot water. And to light the gas fire, so if you're wild camping or it was just so cold, you can have the electric and gas on together to double your heating. So you would just push the gas down and then release, and this will set off on gas. And then on this side you do have a 12 volt assisted fan, so if this was off like it is now on the O, it will convect out the front of the fire, which is great if you're wild camping as it doesn't use any 12 volt, and your leisure battery should last a little bit longer than wasting it on a fan. But when you are hooked up and you want to divert the heat around the van, you put on A, which is automatic, choose your fan speed, and what this will do is it'll blow the heat around the vehicle until it hits that temperature set. Once it hits the temperature, it will cut out, and then as soon as it drops and the thermostat picks up that the temperature of the vehicle has dropped, it will kick back in. Or you can have it on M, which it'll just manually keep continuing to provide the heat selected until you manually turn it down or off, so it will not cut out. And then you can just have it on the fan there. If it was hot, you can use this as a fan and blow air, cold air around the vehicle. To operate your Thetford fridge, so you turn on by the square button here, so press and hold until you got the green light, which means it's turned on. And then to change energy sources, if you press the grey square button, press until everything starts flashing like so, and then you can move it. So here you have mains hookup. So if you are on a site with hookup, or you are on the drive, if you're lucky enough to keep this at home, or you've got a storage yard with electric hookup, you can put the fridge on a 240 volts to cool it before you go away and allow your shop to get nice and cool. And then you can move its sources, so you can put on the battery, which is just designed to keep the temperature the same when the engine is running only. So don't think that you can put your shopping in 2 minutes before you start the engine and you're driving now and you should get nice and cold, because it won't. It's only designed to keep the temperature that it was at when departing. So this is where you would cool the fridge on either gas or electric before you left. And then you've got gas. If you're wild camping and weren't hooked up, you can have gas. When you're clicking, you can then use the arrows to change the temperature of the fridge. And to turn off, you just press here, and if this ever went to a red light, it indicates there's a fault. Either you're not hooked up, you've run out of gas, or your engine isn't running if you've got it on the battery. And part of winterizing the vehicle, if you clean your fridge out, leave nothing in it when the vehicle is standing, this little blue toggle, if you just pull it out ever so slightly, and it stops the door from shutting in on itself and allows ventilation around the seal. So now in the kitchen area, you've got your microwave, which is only to be used when on hookup. So don't think it's a 12 volt microwave and you can use it in a field. When wild camping you can't. And to wake up, you just press eco and you'll get power. But the plug is in here, so should you ever get a problem with the microwave, you can't isolate it. You've got your plate rack there, and your bowl and cup rack in here as well. These are just screwed down, so if you did want to remove these, you can. And then you've got 3 gas burner rings on the hob, like so. If you've had the gas off, always bring it through on the hob first, as this is the best place to bring it through and prime the lines, and then you can use your fridge and your gas heater. You've got an electric hot plate there as well, which is only on hookup. So if you're on hookup, use this instead of wasting your gas, as you've paid for your site fees. And below you've got your grill. Your grill there, which is lit. Take your grill pan out when travelling, or wrap it up, as this can be the main cause of the rattles and vibrations when you're driving. And then below you've got your oven, which is lit as well. Take this out, as this can rattle when you're driving as well. And below you do have your isolation plug for your 240 hot plate, so if you are getting any issues with that, you can isolate by just unplugging it from the 240 socket. Your sink cover / chopping board, when you're travelling, lives neatly underneath the microwave. You can just slide that in there and click that shut. In the cupboard above the front dinette is your electric consumer unit. So you've got your system shutdown button here, which you can turn off when the vehicle's standing and will stop any power drain. You've got your switches here for your 240 volt split charger and your 240 side to your heating and hot water. Just forget about these, don't turn them off, just leave them on, they'll only work when you're hooked up. To this side you've got all your 12 volt fuses, which are all listed here what they are. So it would be a good idea to carry some spares, just in case one does blow. You can just take the fuse out and put a new one in. And this side you've got all your MCBs and RCD trip testers, so should anything have tripped the vehicle out, hairdryer, kettle, you can check here before you check your site post. And above you've got your build number, so should you ever need any parts for the vehicle, if you give us this number, we'll contact Auto Trail with it and we'll get the right parts for your vehicle. And in the cupboard next to the electric consumer unit is your TV booster. So it's a fixed aerial, so you don't need to do anything with the aerial, but you've got a wheel there where you can direct it. So this is just a booster for amplifying the signal, so if it's too weak you can boost it, or if it's too strong you can weaken it ever so slightly. Underneath the dinette seat behind your driver's seat, so the one without belts on, is where you'll find the location of your leisure battery. So underneath the floor, underneath this cover here, is where your leisure battery lives. And the little fuse coming out the top of the box is your main battery fuse. You can get an additional battery fitted in here if you wanted 2 leisure batteries if you were doing more while camping, but you'll get one battery should last you 2 to 3 days on a fully charged battery when while camping. To make the dinette into a bed, you would fold the table leg like so, and then you'd unclip the table by just removing these pins, lift it off, and then you would lie the table into here on both grooves, which I'll show you in a second. So you would lie the table into the gap there to fill the footwell in between the table, and then you would use the cushions and use the cushions to fill the space, and the infill cushion, which is in the wardrobe, to fill in the gap here as well. And that's how you'd make your dinette into a bed. Turn the base cushions to the other side so you don't get the bull nose and ribs of the cushions. It's more comfortable to sleep on the back of the cushion. And underneath your travelling seats is where you'll find the location of your boiler. So your boiler holds 10 litres of water at any one time. You've got 3 taps you want to drain in the winter or when you're not using the vehicle. The waste, which is down here outside, the fresh, which is at the top outside on the driver's side, and you want to drain off the boiler, especially in the winter, as this is a very costly mistake. If you leave water in here, it will ruin the boiler and you'll have to replace it, and they're quite expensive, and it's not covered under warranty, as it's your responsibility to drain off the vehicle. So to drain off the boiler, you've got a little tap here. What you need to do is, when it's lying down, it's holding water, you need to stand it up. You'll hear the water drain directly underneath the chassis. Leave it stood up through the duration that the vehicle is standing, and then when you all come back in to use the vehicle, lie it down, fill the vehicle with water, go to the cold side of the tap first, put the pump on, go to the cold side of the tap first. It will automatically bring cold water from the fresh tank below, go on the hot side, and what we'll do is cough, splutter, and what it's doing is it's drawing the main water from the tank below the floor in the chassis into this boiler here, pushing all the air out through the tap, and then once you get a steady flow on one tap, do them all, and then the system is primed. But remember to drain off the boiler. You've also got underneath here all your gas taps for your various appliances, so your water heater, your barbecue, your space heater, your fridge, your cooker. Turn these don't need to be turned off. If you get any problems with gas, isolate them at the bottles themselves. These are mainly for when the vehicle is habitation serviced. A technician will test that the gas is working to the correct standard set in place. To operate the toilet, press this button here, will flush the toilet. The fan will kick in, and to stop the fan when it's flashing it's on, make it until it goes solid, and that's the fan stopped. And then when the cassette gets full, you'll see the various lights. You get 3 green lights, which means it's full and the cassette needs emptying. But to use the toilet, open the slide on the bottom to the right, which opens the trap door, the blade into the cassette. Use it with it open. Do what you need to do. Flush, shut the seal, which is the blade, and then that's how you use the toilet. Otherwise, if you did have the blade open and you try to get the cassette out, unfortunately it won't come out the side of the vehicle. Your bathroom light is located on the side of your toiletry cabinet, and to work the skylight you would just pull the bar back all the way, or you can put it into the ridges here to give ventilation. But do make sure all your windows and skylights are closed securely before you start driving, as they are just plastic and a gust of wind would just rip them off. But you do have blackout blind and a fly screen. And in your shower cubicle, you've got a towel rail which also doubles up as a good hanging rail should you be caught in the rain, walking the dog, or been out for a walk and your coats and clothes are wet. You just hang your coats on there with hangers, and always make sure these are just magnetic, so make sure they're shut when you're driving, otherwise you'll hear them clattering about. In the back you do have a table which fits into the floor, which lives neatly in the wardrobe area. So there's the top there, there's your infill cushions, there's your carpets, and there's the table leg which just sits in here. And to operate your TV, so get your remote and point it to the red light which is in the right hand bottom corner. And what you need to do is, every time you move sight, you need to retune the TV. which I'll get on to in a second. But this telly, if you hit source, you can, if you ever get a satellite fitted to the vehicle, this telly is satellite ready. It's got a DVD in, and it's got HDMI should you have a Fire Stick or Now TV stick and you want or a Chromecast and you want to cast to your TV. And to retune, you would just press AQT here, press and hold for about a couple of seconds. The screen will go blue. So just keep press. It'll ask you what country you're in. It's automatically set to the UK if you just press OK. And it'll do an auto search and find as many channels as it can in your area. And to make your bed out your U-shaped rear lounge, turn the turnbuckle, pull the slats out. You pull them out until they hit to this ridge here. So what you need to do now is you need to lift, slide over, and fit them into there. Like so, and then you would use your backrests, turn them upside down. Like I said before, turn them upside down gives you a comfier night's sleep. Turn the base cushions as well. And there you are, there's your large double bed made in the back. To work your little reader lights, they all are individually switched, so they'll have a little switch on the light itself where you can choose which reading light you want on in various parts of the vehicle. To lock the door manually, you just press this chrome catch in and that's locked. But it will have central locking, so I'll show you in the cab how to lock all three doors as well. To operate the large roof light at the front, you just loosen the arms off here and then you can wind the skylight up and down to open. Always make sure it is shut when driving. As much as it's over the cab, it can't be open when you are travelling. And then lock into place. And at the front you do have a fly screen and a blackout blind. And your bed, to operate your bed in the Luton, just pull it forward and then pull the mattress over and it will slot into the place like so. And below you can't put this bar through the fabric, and this just stops children rolling out, which just clips on here both sides, and you've got the ladder underneath as well. And then when you want in the cab, you can just push this forward to give you more headroom getting in and out the cab there. So now in the cab, to the right of the driver, you do have your handbrake. You've got your Remus car blinds, which you can pinch and slide along, and the same on the windscreen. So you just slide them in the middle and they are on a magnetic strip. You've got your windows and your mirror adjustments where you can move the joystick and either do the bottom or the top of the mirror. Fog lights and headlight adjustment. Trip computer is on the end of the wiper stalk, so you can see your range, your consumption and so on, your average speed, travelling times, lights and your indicators, cruise control at the top, speed limiter at the bottom. You've got the Comfortmatic gearbox in this vehicle, so when parking it's always advised to leave it in gear. So if you're going up a hill, leave it in first and put the handbrake on, or if you are going down a hill, in reverse and leave the handbrake on. As if you leave it in neutral, which is totally fine as well, it will flash and tell you in neutral, whereas if you left it in gear, you can turn it off and it'll not chime. Coming in the middle, you've got traction control, so this is turning your traction control off. Hill descent control with it being an automatic. Hazards, locks the door including the habitation door. Heated mirrors. Temperature, fan speed must be on at least one or more for the aircon to work in the middle. distribution, and either recirculating or bringing fresh air in. On the head unit, so to turn on and off your here, you've got your volume. You've got your radio, which is either DAB, FM or AM, and then you can press 1 to 3 to save on the front, or you can press all and you can save up to 12 radio channels. Your media is either a CD or a auxiliary or USB in there, or Bluetooth audio. You've got your navigation, which is TomTom, so it's just a standard TomTom in this, so it's not motorhome specific, so do take that in mind. You can navigate to home and various, and put your address in. Don't put your household address in, as if the motorhome was to be stolen, they know where you live, so just put the street or the street before, street after your house. You've got your phone, so you can go to settings, add a phone, and then you want to find Uconnect, make sure the pins match. Once the pins match, press pair on here and your device, and then then it'll ask you if you want to sync your contacts. Press allow and it will sync all your contacts into the head unit, so when whoever rings, it'll come up. And then on the top there, you do have a phone holder as well, so it can be a paper holder for site reservations or a map, or if you pull out the side, you can put your phone in there and then lock it into place like so. Your top box is cooled and heated by the air conditioning, so if you've got the aircon on cold, you can put chocolate and sweets and things in there for the road instead of getting up and down to the fridge. And you've got your glove box there for more storage. This USB is only for charging, and you've got a 12 volt on the dash for charging when the engine is running.